This is the tutorial for Concept 14 Skill 9, and now we are classifying quadrilaterals. So remember, quadrilateral has that prefix quad in there, and quad means four. So we got four different sides, and so when we're taking a look at a quadrilateral, there are some special ones that we end up seeing. Well, first of all, I have a trapezoid. Now, a trapezoid has exactly one pair of parallel sides. So typically, they're going to show a parallel side with this little marking here. So these two sides are parallel. And so we have only one set of parallel sides, where a parallelogram would have two sets of parallel sides. So we see these two are parallel, but then also these two are also parallel. Well, being more specific, here we have another parallelogram, but this is a special case. It doesn't look like it in this example, but if we just take it for granted that these sides are all the same length. So this is a parallelogram. These two sides are parallel, these two sides are parallel. But we have a special type of parallelogram where, again, all sides are the same. If all sides are the same length, then we call this a rhombus. And then we have another parallelogram that even is more specific. Well, I guess it's somewhat similar to the rhombus in that it has a special case. This one doesn't have the sides that are the same, but the angles are the same. Like a rhombus has all sides are the same, and it's also a parallelogram. This parallelogram has all angles that are the same. And they're all the same type, so they have to be right angles, because 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 makes 360. So we call this parallelogram a rectangle. And the most specific type of parallelogram would be a square. So let's take a look at a square. A square has these four markings, which means it's also a rhombus. And it's a special type of rhombus because it has all the angles that are the same. So that means it's also a rectangle. So a square can be a rectangle and a rhombus, and it's also a parallelogram, but it's not a trapezoid. So the square is the most specific type, where it's telling us exactly the angles, and we know all the sides are the same as well. So we want to try to give the special name that represents this quadrilateral. So looking at it, it appears as though all the sides, these two sides, it has two sets of parallel sides. Like this side is parallel, and then this side right here is also parallel to this opposite side over here. So I know that it has two pairs of parallel sides. So that tells me that it's a parallelogram. So I know it's that. So we've got a parallelogram in there, but can we be more specific? Well, I see that all sides are the same. So it has that concept, but all sides are congruent. So all sides are the same. See, meaning with those marks there, those four marks signify that all sides are the same. So that tells me that it is also a rhombus. And so if I want to be very specific, I would say that this quadrilateral is a rhombus. So the quadrilateral is a rhombus, because that tells the reader that the sides are parallel and they all have the lengths of the sides are all the same. So let's take a look at another example here. And here's another one. Does the quadrilateral have any parallel sides? And that's what we're looking for first. So first of all, look at the quadrilateral and does it have parallel sides? And we would say yes, it does. These two sides are parallel, and then these two sides are parallel. So and then they're asking how many they have. Well, we have two. So what that does is it eliminates, we know it's not going to end up being a trapezoid. We know it's not that because a trapezoid only has one set of parallel sides. So this one has two. So what name do we give one that has two sets? Or with this many parallel sides, we call that a parallelogram. And are all sides the same length? And we would say no, they're not all the same length. So that rules out that it is not a rhombus, because in order for it to be a rhombus, we'd have to have all sides the same. And definitely it doesn't show any tick marks that all sides are the same. So how many right angles are there? Well, there's 4 right angles. And so if there's 4 right angles, that means that we're dealing with a rectangle. And since we can't have a square here because we don't have a rhombus, so the best name for this quadrilateral would be a rectangle. So that's the type of problems that you're going to end up seeing on that skill and concepts. Good luck.